So, Bish, thanks so much for your willingness to talk a little bit about your coaching experience. Could we start with just what your role is?
So I'm Bij McIntyre, and I'm the new chief in the Division of Infectious Diseases at the University of Pittsburgh.
Okay. And what led you to embark on coaching?
So I really didn't know anything about coaching. It was part of the offer when they said, "Well, we recommend that you work with an executive coach." I didn't know anything about it, so I talked with my friend who's chief of another department, and I said, "Hey, they were offering me executive coach," and she said, "Oh yeah, that's a big in thing now. That everyone's like doing it." So that's good. That's good. You need to say yes. And I was like, okay. So that's how I got into it.
Okay. And what have you found most helpful about the coaching?
Well, so first of all, I they gave me names of people, and my other friend, who's also a leader, she's been telling me all about mindfulness from before. You have to get into this thing. Okay, I didn't know what it was, but when I was looking at the names, there was it says mindfulness. I was like, oh, okay, fine, and that's how it that's how it got started,
Hmm.
and and that's I guess probably the best thing that I've learned from it
Hmm. How
is the mindfulness aspect.
how has that helped you? Maybe be as specific as you could, both professionally and even with challenges outside of work.
Well, I think one of the first things that I mentioned during the coaching was the moment I found out that I was appointed as the chief of the division is so much anxiety. I was waking up early in the morning, like literally in fear of what it is a big division. We have nearly 100 faculty, over 100 staff members, with a lot of things going on. And suddenly it just dawned on me, oh, I'll be there and I'll be looking at all of these things. And one of the first things that was tackled in the coaching was, what do you do when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning? How do you do it? And that was actually how mindfulness helped, and seeing things in from high up, and seeing all of these things that are happening, and understanding these emotions and these feelings, and the anxiety, and how to put them into place, put them in perspective. And I think that started it. Right?
Hmm.
When I was able to wake up and say, okay, tomorrow this will work, or not important, or is
Hmm.
this really true? And got back to sleep, that started it. So the moment that happened, everything fell into place. And so with things that are the different issues that are coming up, rather than being very reactionary and being completely having a visceral reaction to some of these things, I look back and say, okay, wait, what is really the issue here? Or
Hmm.
is this just a fear of something that's happening? And but apart from that, it helped me understand the other person who may have a completely different opinion.
Mhm.
Or most of the time I'd be like, what? This is what they now it's like, well, what is it that could have led to that? And how can I help it? And I think that's extremely helpful in my position now, because now it helps me really understand everyone rather than making a quick judgment on
Hmm.
what things are, what this is supposed to elicit in me, but say, okay, step back.
Hmm.
What is this really? And let's put this into perspective.
I hear a lot more ease for you as a young leader in particular.
It
Hmm.
is. And I think part of it was really being, I think, and I've been saying this, it's the mindfulness aspect that got to this. And it's the one that has brought me into being more reflective of things that are happening, and coming up with decisions with a clear mind. And if I can't come up, knowing the people I can reach out to and get advice and discuss things so that I could get a better, rather than making a decision right there and there because this is what my feelings are. This is how I'm supposed to be reacting to that. In a way that has helped with these past few months that I have been
Mm,
in this position.
wonderful. One last question. If there's somebody who's on the fence around leadership coaching, with myself or my team, what would you want them to know?
I would like them to know the 3 o'clock wake up. Most of the times, and I'm saying this because I've actually talked with some people who, when I brought up that 3 o'clock wake up time, they said, "Oh my God, yes, that happens to me. I
Mm,
wake up early in fear and anxious about what's happening." And I said, "Well, that's because that's what I experience, and that's what a lot of people, I believe, experience when it comes to these things. And being in control of that is the first big step into really learning how to get into the position that you're going to be into. Um, for me, that's the first step. Handling the fear, the anxiety, and part of it is also the imposter syndrome. I had major imposter syndrome with this thing, but the mindfulness aspect is like, okay, all right, just leave that. You now have a role, and if you keep on thinking about these things, you're not going to be able to fulfill your role to
mm,
serve. So this, and then the moment I bring that up with two other people, and when they say, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. It's like that happened to me, and this is how that happened.
mm. Well, thank you so much for spending a few
Thanks,
minutes.
yeah.
Really appreciate it.